Hi boys and girls, back for day 2 of math, fractions on the number line. So let's just talk about what we talked about yesterday. Okay, let's review the word partition. And remember, if you are partitioning something, you're dividing, you're making equal pieces, you're breaking it apart. Okay, and again, when we're dealing with fractions, we need to make sure that those pieces are as equal as they possibly can. Okay, after we divided our number line up yesterday, we also understood that each one of those pieces was one of the 4 that makes up the entire line or the whole. Excuse me. We also know that these numbers, the 0 and the 1, are our endpoints because at 0, there's no line here. There's 0, there's nothing. And then when we get to this 1, we know that we're calling this line whole, or in other words, it's one whole. So let's look at what we're going to talk about today. And today our learning target is I can partition or break into pieces or break apart a number line and label the number line. So today we're actually going to mark fractions. Yesterday we were understanding the size and trying to make our pieces equal. Now we're actually going to put labels at the hash marks that we're creating so that we can locate various points. So we're going to create a number line. Okay, and I'm using my hash marks, okay, to mark off the end of my line at 0. And I'm stopping at 1 because I'm saying from here to here is the whole number line or the part of the number line that I'm working with. And so now I'm going to break this number line into 3 pieces, 3 equal pieces. So again, we want to make sure that we do this as equally as possible. Okay, so I'm going to eye out thirds. Okay, and as you can see, I've broken my number line apart and I've made 3 pieces. There's 1, 2, 3. And we will color that in just so that everybody can see those pieces. From that hash mark to hash mark, this hash mark, that's 1. From this hash mark to this hash mark, it's 2. And there's our 3rd piece. Now, let's think about putting a label or a fraction on these particular little hash marks on our number line. Okay, and obviously if we're at 0, we can see that there's no line right here. So we have no thirds, 0 thirds. Remember, we broke our number line into thirds. That's how I know that we're working with thirds. And here, there's nothing. There are no thirds. If I move over to my next hash mark, I can see that I've moved over and there's 1/3. So at this hash mark, I need to put that that's 1/3. Okay, I'm gonna move over to my next hash mark. And as you can see, my next fraction I'm gonna put on the number line is gonna be 2/3 because I have 1 2/3. And the next one, I'm going to move over to my next hash mark, and I've got 1. I've got 1 whole, or I've got 3/3. I started off with a whole red line, and I broke it into 3 separate pieces, and at 1, I have 3/3. That makes my number line whole. Okay, we're going to look at one more. This time we're going to break our number line into 6 equal pieces and we're going to label it. Okay, so I'm marking off the part of the number line I'm working with. I'm working with 0. and 1. And again, I'm going to make 6 equal pieces. I know that I'm breaking this number line into 6 equal parts, so I'm first going to make thirds. And then I'm going to just break my thirds into half, because I know that if I multiply 3 times 2, that'll give me 6. And I should, hopefully, after I have broken this number line apart, have 6 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I do. So let's go ahead and put a label, a fraction label, on each one of our hash marks. So when we're at 0, we know that there are no, and this time we're dealing with 6. Okay, because we broke our number line into 6 pieces, so I know that I'm dealing with 6. And when I'm right here, I have no 6, 0, 6. If I move over to my next hash mark, I have 1/6. Okay, I'm going to move over again. And I have 2/6. And if I move over again to my next hash mark, I have 3/6. Do we see a pattern happening here? What do you suppose my next numerator is going to be? Okay. After 3/6, I've got 1, 2, 3, and if I move to my next hash mark, I have 4/6. And notice that I'm putting my fractions right above the hash marks. Okay, it's important that you do that so that we understand that this number, this is the fraction represented at that particular hash mark. I'm going to make it to the next hash mark, and I've got 5/6. And then when I get to 1, my line is whole, and I should have 6/6.